of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a pretty short agenda tonight. I told Jennifer and everyone else at the meeting today we can get done in half an hour or less, so there's our goal. My report, I don't think I did anything that most of you weren't in. We had the Fortitude tour last week. I was going to go to the loss and safety training, but I ended up getting called away down to St. Paul for a trial, so I couldn't do that. Otherwise, we had our joint city and township board back on the 12th as well, along with the working session that followed that. And we had a policies and procedures meeting on the 13th. Biggest thing that came out of there was the discussion of extension of the mayor's term, which we'll talk about at our next meeting. So, going over to Mr. Hertzberg.
Yes, it was quite busy. 12th was the joint township meeting, talked about the contracts and the annexation zoning with the township. 13th was policy and procedures. 18th, equalization meeting and the zoning meeting with the planning commission. 20th, I had a green roof meeting and the Fortitude senior living tour. Very nice facility. 23rd, I went to Let's Go Fishing at Queen Bee's. And today we had a marathon at the Legion retreat meeting.
Ms. Burke.
I had the joint township meeting on the 12th. We had safe routes to school on the 13th. I did the joint planning meeting on the 18th, EDAP the 19th, and then our council retreat today.
Were you able to secure a quorum at this EDAP meeting?
We were able, actually, every single member was there
Well,
for the
that's
first
exciting.
time in many years, apparently.
Probably some, yeah.
It was delightful.
All right, Jean.
I attended almost the ones you did, and let's see, joint township, joint planning, EDAP, Board of Equalization, Fortitude, retreat, etc. It was a busy couple of weeks.
It has been a busy couple weeks. Paul.
I was at the Fortitude tour and also, excuse me, at the special joint meeting today at the Legion.
All right. Going then to our department head reports. Ron.
Great, thank you. Spring cleanup is this Saturday up at the Township Hall again. The compost is open and operational. Our consumer confidence report is in the informational packet here tonight, as is the summer youth or the summer library events that they have going on. If anybody went down Railroad Street, AMPI is doing a little bit of excavating out there. They are putting in a pH equalization tank, just to, so they're not sending slugs of high pH or low pH to us. Parks will be open on that May 14th, as it will the RV dump be open by then. So people can still utilize the RV dump today, but there just is no water there until hopefully we can get some warmer weather where we know it's not going to freeze.
All right. Maybe in July.
So
Okay. Tarek. Or any questions for Ron first, Ishna? All right, Tarek.
All right, we had the safety board meeting, the Board of Appeals and Equalization, which was already mentioned, as well as the joint planning and city meeting and joint planning and township meeting. We also had the EDAP meeting, which we discussed the potential or the new industrial park we're trying to get off the ground, as well as the status of some of the businesses in town. We have policies and procedures. In addition to what you mentioned about the mayor term, we also discussed extending the PTO for the police department during this period where they're short-staffed. We also had a call, Ron, Chuck, and I with Deed to discuss any potential grants we can get for infrastructure in the industrial park. And of course, we did the Fortitude tour, which I thought was very nice. And finally, I had a call regarding electric vehicle charging stations with another company that is looking to install them around the state. So I'll get more information about that for the next meeting.
Anything for Tarek?
I don't think so.
Are we missing something?
I just wanted to, I didn't have anything to say about safe routes to school, and I was trying to see if he did, but he
All right,
didn't.
so then we have the open forum period. If there's anybody here who wants to talk to us, we have a 10-minute period. Okay. I thought maybe John would want to tell me off, but it's fine, he missed his chance. And we'll move on to our consent agenda, which is the minutes from the meetings there on page 1. Jennifer's dutifully getting caught up on those. The vouchers on page 2 totaling $269,131.08, along with the 2022 MWOA conference. Be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Hertzberg, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Soini to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? That carries. Right, on to page 8, new business A, the DNR grass truck with the fire department. A representative, doesn't say which of you has been appointed, so,
All three of us. So, actually, I have John and Dominic here. John has been getting the pump ready for the temporary grass rig, and Dominic is actually the one that has been working with the DNR to get everything lined up and get the truck here. Currently, where we're at is we have the truck at the hall. There is a pump in the back. The pump does not work yet. I think we have to go through the carbs yet. Apparently, that looks like that's going to be the only cost to us at this point, besides the transporting the truck back and forth. So there'll be a mileage or whatever for whoever picked up and will deliver the truck. What I'm requesting is approval by the city to put the truck in service as soon as we have it operational.
There's some dollar amounts on here. Do we need approval for those?
I have a $500 amount on there, up to, is that correct?
Up to, yeah.
equipment up to 500 and then insurance up to 215.
I believe the insurance is already on. Belinda has that active.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the cost is. I'm assuming it will be cut short if we only have the truck for a few months. I don't know how that will work. Tarek, do you have any insight on that?
No, I just know that the insurance is active.
And then the 500 is basically, until today, we didn't even know if we had a operating pump at this time with hose and nozzle and stuff, and Valley Industries has taken upon themselves to help us out and get a hose and a reel and a nozzle on the pump that they are loaning to us at this point. It will go back to them as soon as it's finished its duties here.
Well, thank you to Valley for lending that to us. With that, if there's no further discussion, we'd be looking for a motion authorizing the fire department to use the DNR grass truck, along with the cost of insurance and the equipment.
I'll move to authorize the use of the DNR grass truck for no fee, pay the insurance in the amount of up to $215 and outfit the truck with the necessary equipment in the amount of up to $500.
All right, I have a motion by Brick. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Thielen. As stated on the action sheet, to authorize the use of the grass truck for no fee with the insurance up to $215 and outfitting up to $500. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? None. That carries. Right.
Thank you, everyone.
Gentlemen.
Off to the next meeting.
Thank you.
Then we have on page 9, the Green Step Cities program. Tarek, can you talk to us a little bit about this?
Yeah, I got some more information from the people in charge of this program. They did confirm that there is no cost to it, there is no formal application. The only thing that we need to do to get started is to pass this resolution, at which point, again, we're under no deadline to reach any certain milestones. We actually move at our own pace. By passing this resolution and sending them a copy of it, we will be acknowledged as a Green Step City participant on level 1. To get to level 2, then we will have to see which programs we already have in place out of the programs they listed. I think we have a good chance of already complying with the necessary requirements for step 2. If we do, we will need to submit to them verification that we're already doing these programs, and we can move up to step 2. But again, there is no urgency or need to move at a certain pace. We move at our own pace to each step. So, but I just want to reiterate that there is no cost to us in doing this, and there is no formal application other than the city passing a resolution.
And this is something that the city's been looking at doing for quite a few years, and in the past had just decided not to because of some administrative constraints, but I think I'm comfortable with moving forward now.
I could have sworn we passed a resolution once before.
Yeah.
I thought we did too, and I looked into it, and I think that it was looked at for quite a long time, and it was decided not to because reporting and the reporting requirements, they just felt like it would be more than the administrator had time to deal with, I think was kind of the way it went, and, but they were close, it was close to being done, and then we pulled back. And I don't remember if that was at a time when all of a sudden Ron was gonna be the temporary administrator, and we were trying not to add stuff. I don't remember what the timing was, I just know we didn't do it, but I thought we did.
Yeah, to get to step 2, like I said, all they're looking for are programs that we already have in place to see if we can qualify for step 2. If not, we'll have to implement them, like, for example, a recycling program or efficient lights, things like that, which I think we may already have. If we have enough, we move to step 2. The administrative part, or the more difficult or challenging task, comes when we want to go to step 3, which is implementing new programs. That might take some administrative time, and of course, the city will need to get more involved with the relevant boards to implement these plans. But to get to 1 and 2, I don't think it's that difficult at all.
I like the idea that it shows that we're paying some attention to the issue and lets us compete with cities around us and them with us.
It would be nice for the environmental board to take on some projects as well.
Right.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2022-15, authorizing the city of Painesville to participate in the Minnesota Green Step Cities program.
Okay, I have a motion by Soini. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick to approve resolution 2022-15. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? That carries. Right, the significant industrial user agreement on page 12.
Okay, this is a renewal of the Avon Plastics agreement. It sets all the parameters, which are they can discharge up to, on an average, 15,000 pounds a day, 400 pounds of BOD, and 400 pounds of TSS. We did change on attachment B as the main changes. Under number 1, all the surcharges, they've been added to match what AMPI has, and then we also added number 4 there. I guess the biggest concern we have currently with Avon Plastics is the plastics that do come down the waste stream, that they can get into the ponds and into our spray nozzles, the irrigation system. So we just want to make sure it's clarified that if we spend time out there, they can be charged back for it. So that did go through Public Works, and we did meet with Avon Plastics, and they are in agreement with it.
So we'd be looking for a motion to renew the agreement between the city and Avon Plastics.
Make the motion to approve the significant industrial user agreement between the city of Painesville and Avon Plastics.
We have a motion.
Second.
Motion by Soini, seconded by Hertzberg to renew the significant industrial user agreement between the city of Painesville and Avon Plastics. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? Carries. Okay, the EDAP housing incentive, page 21. Tarek.
This is a renewal of the housing incentive for owner-occupied homes. We're asking for another 10, which were already used up. EDAP approved it, but I think, Jennifer, you can correct me, there was another resolution or on the EDAP agenda that we did not get to, which was there is a resident looking to build a house already, and it had to be retroactive that they get the housing incentive. The housing incentive, is that correct?
Yeah, we ran out of owner-occupied housing incentives, and somebody had pulled a building permit that wanted to be a part of it, and I said, well, there's a couple options, to either hold off on paying for the building permit until it was approved by council, which is tonight. You could just not get the housing incentive, or you can ask for a reimbursement following if the Abbott Council would approve additional 10 housing incentives. So I believe that they will formally request a reimbursement of their $1,800. That's on a building permit application.
So and we had this on the EDEP agenda, but got skipped over.
So, well, and in March, actually, it was on before these people even had submitted their application, but March did not have any DAP quorum.
Yeah.
So it got pushed to their April agenda, and they approved the 10, but they did not approve a request that I put on there on behalf of the homeowner.
And what's their name? Or is that
Wayne and
public?
Pat-
Hanson.
Wayne and Pat Hanson.
Okay. So if we were to approve the additional 10, we could retro as part of our motion tonight and just
We can.
forego the bureaucracy that would require them
Yes.
to come here and ask.
You could?
Yeah. I would prefer we just
I,
do that.
well, and I know we even discussed it at.
Yeah. But we didn't formally.
put it in our motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was brought up that they wanted one.
I think it makes more than enough sense to do an additional 10 housing incentives. I also think it's worth looking into whether or not there's anything piggybacking off the discussion we had earlier today to bring in new development along with some additional building on the city-owned lots, how we can incentivize building on those a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I'd be in favor of the 10 additional housing incentives along with applying one of those 10 retroactively to the Hansons.
I'll make that motion to approve 10 additional complete housing incentive packages for owner-occupied homes and allowing one of them to go back to the Hansons.
Second.
I have a motion by Soini, seconded by Brick, to approve 10 additional complete housing incentive packages for owner-occupied homes, with one of the 10 being applied to Wayne and Pat Hanson's home, and the city processing an $1,800 refund for that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? None. That carries. Right, the Schrupp's mortgage, they have satisfied their 2009 mortgages. We would be looking for approval of the mortgage satisfactions.
I'll make the motion to approve the mortgage satisfactions for Dave and Pam Schrupp.
Second. Motion by Soini, seconded by Thielen, to approve the mortgage satisfactions for Dave and Pam Schrupp. Any further discussion on that? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? None. That carries. Okay, the airport fly-in. Ron.
Okay, thank you. Yes, the Friends of the Airport have scheduled the air show for August the 27th. And this is just the first one. There will be a number of items coming to the council in the next month, very likely, but this will be the first one, and that is authorizing the retail on-sale liquor license to dispense the intoxicating liquor for that evening.
Any discussion with Ron? Otherwise, we'd be looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2022-16, authorizing retail on-sale liquor license to dispense intoxicating liquor at a community festival.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Soini, seconded by Brick. To approve resolution 2022-16. Any further discussion on this? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. That carries. Ron, before we move on, and I forget, there was some discussion at our retreat earlier about committee attendance, and it was mentioned that there is at least a member of the airport committee who's maybe not showing up reliably, and you're struggling to get a quorum at times?
Well, there's several of them.
Okay.
I mean, it's not just one. It's, because one flies, it's hit and miss, and
I just wanted to bring it up in case we need to talk about maybe alternative membership to that committee or something.
that is a possibility. I
Okay.
guess. I'll talk to them and figure out what direction they're all going.
Thanks, Ron. All right, moving on then, page 27, the Midtown monitoring well. Item G was pulled. We'll deal with that at our next council meeting. Ron, can you talk to us about the results that you received?
Absolutely. First of all, we sampled DW20, which is located on Maywood and very close to South Street. That is a direct point from our wells going over to the Midtown Gas. DW19 is probably midway between Maywood and Pomeroy. And DW8 is just to the east of this point. We sampled, the Pollution Control Agency had their contractor out. They actually assisted, they pulled the samples and they were split samples, so we sampled the exact same parameters as the pollution control did. We do have a little handout here. I'm gonna just let Chuck run through a little bit of the history of that for us. Go ahead, Chuck.
So if you look at this chart, if you look at the red line along the bottom, it's actually the test results for DW8 over there. There was benzene detected in that well starting in 07 till
20, I think in that 2016 timeframe, I believe there were still some benzene detected in that well. And since that point, there has not been any detection of benzene in DW8. And that's sort of what this little chart shows. DW19 is in blue. That did have a short period where we did get some detection of benzene in that during the 17, I believe 16, 17 timeframe. So that's, and since then there has not been any detection of benzene in DW19. I do not believe there's ever been any detection in DW20.
The results that we got here are identical to what the pollution control had. We do not have any hits except in DW8, and is the diesel range organics. And that is just a compound of that, and we did have a 0.169 there where the pollution control agency did not. So there's a little bit of a dispute. I don't know if they're gonna come back and resample that well. But since then, the pollution control, or Terracon, the contractor, did come out and sample all the municipal wells. So we will be getting those results hopefully within a couple weeks.
And then to piggyback off of that, I understand you've been talking with Bolton and Meg, MPCA, Department of Health, about the ongoing utility of the VOC plant and whether or not that's needed, and we can follow up with that hopefully in a few weeks.
Correct. Yes, we will be following up. We're looking into the contract that we had with the pollution control agency, and also the Department of Health is reviewing everything also. So, yes.
Thank you. Any questions about that?
It's clear as mud.
I'm glad I'm a hydrologist who understands none of this.
None of it.
All right, moving on then. Thank you for doing that, Ron. Thank you for providing those response, and Chuck for working on that. We appreciate the peace of mind that it provides. Looking then at the ARPA grant at the airport.
Okay, the last grant we got is through the FAA. What we have in front of us is, if you look under number 2 there, it's the local unit of government designates MnDOT, not FAA, as accepting the federal funds on its behalf and distributing the federal funds to us. Pretty much is so. Yes, we're designating MnDOT as the funding agency here. It is not additional funds, it is just already funds we have, and this is just a mechanism of how we can collect our money.
And with that, we'd be looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2022-14, and I might suggest that such a motion would be sufficient without all the additional titling.
So moved.
I have a motion by Brick,
Second.
seconded by Soini, to approve Resolution 2022-14. Any further discussion? None. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. That carries. Going then to page 41, the AMPI sewer billing settlement. Tarek.
Yeah, we reached an agreement with AMPI to settle this, or to come to an agreement on the billing of the sewer. which is highlighted in this report. The summary of it is that AMPI will be paying us $350,000 before the end of this year, which should bring our reserves up to a healthy amount. It's also important to note that as a result of the billing being corrected, our reserves are already going up. So we should be in a healthy position by the end of this year, after which, should we decide to do a rate study, which I think we will start, if we were to find out that we can lower the rate on residents, AMPI will remain at the current rate for 1 year.
So I look at this, and the biggest things I see are, one, AMPI is paying their fair share going forward. We're building up our reserves back to where they should be. And we're also taking a fresh look for the resident tax, or the resident users in the city, to see if we can lower their obligation in light of this going forward. So I think this is a fair deal, and beats the alternative of years in litigation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the settlement agreement and release of claims between the city of Painesville and AMPI.
Motion by Hertzberg, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Brick, to approve the settlement agreement and release of claims between the city of Painesville and AMPI. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're looking at, on number 4, it says pay the current rate for 12 months from the date of this agreement, commencing on the first month. It almost seems like AMPI is getting off the hook by quite a bit here. Just wanted to let it be known that I just don't feel comfortable with it, but I'm going to go ahead and agree with it. Hoping that we could have squeezed a little bit more out of them, but apparently let's just try and go forward.
No.
Well, we did have a pretty challenging negotiation with them, and we did try to start with the maximum, seeking the maximum amount. And of course, a couple of back and forths, and actually, it took us a while to get to the agreement where we are. And, I mean, to what Sean said, my biggest fear is I want to see us at a healthy reserve position by the end of the year. I don't want to drag this on and litigate at the same time, not being able to see whether or not we can reduce rates for residents. I mean, I don't know if we can reduce rates, but now we have the chance to do so, and at least have the assurance going forward that our reserve position is going to be in a healthy position. So could we gotten more? I think it's hard to say from here, but I think, the best way forward, especially because, AMPI is a valuable company to this town. I think it's the best way to, move ahead with this.
So I have just one more question, and then I'm pretty sure I'm never going to bring this up again. When I spoke to the League of Minnesota Cities, their staff attorney said that if there's a state statute that there is no litigation. Now, I'm not an attorney, and being that we have disposal of the two of them here, maybe you guys can clear that up.
I'm sure there would have been litigation.
Yeah, okay.
They can litigate.
Okay.
No, and it would have been abundantly clear. There would have been litigation, and what, Bill, 2 years probably, with the way civil cases are moving through right now? Maybe?
I'm sure that would probably be optimistic right now, but yeah, I'd say 2-3 years probably. But
2-3 years, and
it might settle sooner than that. I mean, I'm not saying it would have taken that long, but it would have, it would have taken some time, and they wouldn't have been motivated to settle, so it would have been challenging, and we would have created hard feelings with them, I'm sure, by going that way. So but I understand, there's always some cost to reaching a resolution, and you don't know all the answers when you do it that way, but. So I understand where you're coming from.
Sure. I also think that having goodwill is probably going to stretch a lot farther than having bad feelings going back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I looked at the towns that had AMPIs that closed, and it was a pretty devastating effect
Yep.
on the town and on the, the local workforce. One of them was in Rochester, and that, of course, was not as devastating, but the others were smaller towns, and it was pretty bad. And I think that, we wanted to avoid that, and, you know, get our reserves back in a healthy position and possibly lower some costs around town, so.
Yeah. All right.
It's kind of like the old saying, if both sides are a little unhappy, it's probably a good agreement.
It's true enough.
Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? None? That carries. With that, we have our informational, the Consumer Confidence Report, the library summer events schedule, which involves a story stroll through our parks, along with our May and June meeting schedules. Nothing further. We do stand adjourned at the 30-minute mark. We did it, folks.